Okay, so I thought it would be fun to open this episode up by asking you, gut reaction, what were the top 3 things that caught your eye this year?
Okay, the first brand that comes to mind, there's 3 brands that come to mind, gut reaction, things that happened this year. First, Gap. I think we're seeing talk about nostalgia, the play into bringing back their dancing campaigns, and people are loving it. And I just think they've done a lot of great collaborations, and they feel like somebody, when I think about this year, that's really like reinvented themselves. I think of Crown Affair. They're another brand that continuously, I feel like, almost like one-ups themselves every time. Whoever's doing their creative over there, I think I need to meet them, because
I think you do too, because knowing both of you, you guys would really
oh
jive.
my gosh.
Yeah.
There's something very intentional and slow to me. I don't know if slow is the right word, but just very thoughtful about their creative. In an Instagram world where everything is so fast and so clickbaity, they to me stand out as somebody who is able to still get conversions and sales while still having very beautiful produced content. And I think we've seen a lot of great just creative and collabs come from them this year. And then the third thing, kind of still in the Gap era, but a little different, J. Crew, which J. Crew has been on its revival era for a while with Olympia there. But again, we're seeing this, I think this like play into, again, like the nostalgia of the vintage catalog. And they also are doing it very thoughtfully. And I think Olympia is doing a good job curating. And this year, I think we've seen a lot of that. And as someone who never really, I feel like, paid that much attention to J. Crew, now I'm like, oh, maybe I should get in on that. And I love following Olympia. She's an amazing follow.
She's one of my favorite social media follows.
Yeah.
She just curates so well.
It's insane.
I'm like, wow, does the inside of your brain look like that? Because the inside of my brain would look like a dumpster fire.
Yeah, well, something too, I don't know if she said it on your podcast or if she said it in an interview. I don't remember. But what I thought was really interesting is as she makes these mood boards, she said she gets so excited when as she's collaging, she finds a reference or an image that hasn't necessarily been circulated before.
She said that on our pod.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That like altered my brain chemistry. I was like, oh yeah. Like I'm on Pinterest every day, all day. We're all looking at the same imagery. Like how do we get back to, as you know, creatives and people who are living on social, like original imagery that isn't, you know, reposted 10 million times. And where are we finding that? And I feel like she finds that, which is why she's exciting to follow.
Treasure hunt for her, probably.
Yeah.
J. Crew has so many archives that just haven't been tapped, and I'm sure she's just
having fun,
having the best time.
I want that to be my job. I've always said I just want to be a professional mood board curator. Like if I could just do that every day and make money somehow.
Yes, but I also think that there's probably such a fun job, like managing those archives. I would love to be the person that manages a J. Crew archive, both in terms of clothing, but in terms of imagery. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that's not I would thrive. But I'm sure that's also not even I think what most people don't realize is that's not even really as fully formed as it should be for most brands. Like a lot of high-end designers are having to buy back their archive from vintage sellers or places, because back in the day they would just have a model come in, and instead of paying them, like Versace would have models come in and gift them a dress as their fee for walking in a show. And now they're having to kind of
so crazy
bend over backwards to build back their archive on things and have it as a part of like a brand's heritage.
Sorry, no, this is not the topic of this conversation, but is that because like did Versace just not know that like they were valuable?
Yeah,
valuable, but like
I think you don't know how iconic something's going to be in the moment like that.
Yeah,
you just don't.
Yeah,
and so in their mind, Versace is trying to do things scrappy, and then 20-30 years later it's like these are the most iconic things in the world that we reference all the time.
It's just like hard to think of a world where like Versace wasn't like
iconic. I just think in terms of people weren't as focused on maintaining an archive as they are now.
Do you think brands like Kate and The Row are actively building their archive?
I would hope so. because now they know that these brands are trying to figure it out.
Right.
We did have someone actually at the top of this year. She is a professional archivist here in Los Angeles, and she manages the archives of, she won't explicitly say, but to my knowledge, like Adele, Beyonce, and it's all based at a very nondescript place here in LA. And it's like maintaining a museum. And she built her career actually doing brands archives. So I think she did the archive for Ralph Lauren.
What a niche.
A lot of New York brands. I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but it was a great episode and so fascinating.
Wow.
But there's a world that exists solely for archives. Like that
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the brands that we love now are really maintaining their archives. You brought up Gap, and let's talk about Gap because today's a big day for Gap. A lot of you who are in New York and Europe that are listening probably noticed that this podcast was released a little bit later than usual. It probably wasn't in your feed when you woke up this morning. And that's because we had to hold the pod for a very special embargo that went live today that I think is one of the coolest brand collaborations of the year. So we had to keep it quiet until the embargo is lifted, and that is Summer Fridays and Gap.
So insane.
I
think it's their first ever beauty collab.
So everything is in the Summer Fridays colors. So like the jet lag mask blue, the cloud dew pink, the lip butter bombs, which you know that I can't leave the house without. Like,
me either.
Literally in every bag. But so the clothes match those colors and everything says like Summer Fridays.
So
it's
good.
Very cute and like perfect right before the holidays.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I was in Texas for Thanksgiving and I was with my boyfriend's two nieces. They are like 12 and 14. And they're like, what do you do for work? And I told them and they were like, well, who do you work with? And I'm like, saying the names of the celebrities. They don't know anybody we work with. And then I said, well, do you know what Summer Fridays is? And they were like, oh my God, yes. And I said, I work with, Mariana, she's a client. And they're like, oh my God. Like she's like, I have to go FaceTime my friend. Like, that's incredible. And I told Mariana that. And she said what's really so amazing is that the products are multi-generational. And it's something where you have these like Gen Z, 14-year-olds, people in high school who are obsessed with the product. But then you and me just said we can't leave the house without it. And you have also like our moms who are also obsessed with it, which is just a testament to the brand that those girls have built, because it's so hard to build a multi-generational product. And then also what an amazing alignment with Gap that also I would argue is multi-generational in a sense. So I think it's a very genius collab.
I had the exact same experience with my nieces on Alex's side, and I told Mariana about it. So Mariana's getting a lot of 14-year-old info recently.
Yes.
All of Alex's like cousins' kids came in town, and before they even said hi to me, they had heard through our family that like I work with Summer Fridays or like I know the girls.
Yeah.
And these girls were at my door every single day asking if I had any leftover Summer Fridays in my drawer. They were feral.
What's an equivalent for us growing up? I was trying to think of this. Lip smackers?
Yeah, maybe. What was the beauty that you used growing up?
Like anything at Target. There wasn't anything like, I think the industry has changed a little bit too.
I don't have a distinct memory of a brand dominating my high school beauty cabinet. Like once I got to college and Glossier popped up, okay, Glossier was everywhere. But before that, I would say like a lot of the things that I wanted were things borrowed from my mom, like Maybelline Great Lash.
Yes.
A L'Oreal,
yeah.
Lancome Juicy Tubes.
Yes. But it's drugstore.
Yes.
Like it's things that we were like
yes.
seeing.
It wasn't a singular brand that people my age, I was born in 94, were obsessed with.
I think Glossier
and maybe I'm wrong. If you were born in 94, like slide into my DMs right now because maybe I'm
we're blinking.
It was just so valid if I am. But yeah, there wasn't really a brand that I was like, I need that under eyeliner. It was just that like I needed eyeliner.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, we were just like excited to be using makeup in general. Like I didn't really have a preference. It was, but I feel like Glossier, to your point, was the first to really do that. And now we're seeing obviously the after effects of that. And Summer Fridays, man. They're crushing.
Really cute stuff. I'm looking at the collection now. Like these PJs are really cute. And I also am like obsessed. They have these Summer Fridays Gap headbands that are in the colors of like all the Summer Fridays colors that I could see so many girls putting on when they're doing their beauty routine. Yes, this is so
genius.
I'm so excited for them. What do you think about Shay Mitchell's beauty brand for kids?
It's interesting. I honestly, I see both sides, because on one hand, I completely understand that your kids are going to ask about skincare. Like when I was, a kid and I saw my mom, like I wanted to do the same thing. I have friends whose kids, are seeing them do their makeup, and I understand. And it's like, okay, well, I want them to do this ritual with me, and I want to, have them be a part of it and give them that same, fun, like we love doing it, whatever. So I understand that when that happens and it's like, okay, well, what can I give them? And it's like, well, the chemicals I'm putting on my face maybe are too harsh, and the things on the market already aren't really good for them because it's just kind of like junk. So I understand Shay carving that niche. At the same time, I do think that with social media, we have a consumerism problem, and it is, I don't know how we stop it. Like, I don't know the answer, but it is at the same time, we're seeing girls skip the awkward phase and the teenage phase. And
I did not look like that as a teen.
Oh my God, me either. Are you kidding me?
It was scary.
And that's the people, they're scrolling on TikTok. They're seeing the get readies with me. Like the world that we live in is just shifting so much because of that influence. So it's a little like uneasy to think about, but
I wouldn't be surprised that if in 10 years from right now, it's like the least surprising thing ever. I think the first person to do anything is the one that's going to get the most shit.
Absolutely.
And I think she just crossed a bridge that unfortunately I think was inevitable.
Yes.
And whether she was going to do it or somebody else, it was going to happen no matter what.
It's at the end of the day.
Not saying that I think it's great, by the way.
No, yeah.
I just think that it was inevitable.
It's like, honestly, I think the conversation around it is showing consumers and the audiences that like we are here now. Like there's no going back. Like this is the state of consumerism, and this is the state of audience and social media and young girls and boys. And Shay, I think, was like, we're either gonna pretend like it's not here, or we're going to actually give them something that is going to be good for their skin. And you're right. In 10 years, it'll probably be so normal.
I love that you brought up Crown Affair too.
What I do think Crown Affair is doing is, to me, Crown Affair represents how Glossier was kind of the first of this kind of beauty and cult beauty and doing beauty thoughtfully and different. To me, Crown Affair is that. I think they represent a shift in hair care and the way that like Gen Z and what's our demographic? Are you millennial?
You're Gen Z, babe.
I'm Gen Z.
I'm a millennial.
That's crazy though.
No, it's not.
It's like a zillennial vibe though.
Yeah, I'm on the cusp.
Anyways,
plenty of fish in the sea.
I do feel like before I think this year, Crown Affair was kind of like a if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think they're really on the map, and they're one of those cult beauty favorites, and it looks beautiful on your shelf in the shower. I think that's another thing that we're seeing and saw a lot this year was this shift back to like ritual relaxation, like the overwhelm of wellness and like bed rotting, and almost, I mean, you just have to balance everything. But I just think it's a slippery slope on social media, because now it's within the beauty and the wellness and like all these industries. It's like these like big kind of pendulum shifts and like trends that are all around a recurring theme. And this year it was really like the return of wellness. So I'm curious what next year is going to be. But I think I'd love to see a world in which we return back to balance. Anyways, back to Crown Affair. They're doing incredible. I think I need to meet Diana. I just think her background's really interesting. Like, to me, she is someone who knows how to build a brand. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think it's one thing to know how to build a brand, but I also think it doesn't matter how good your branding is or how good the positioning is if the product doesn't live up to, the hype and the brand that you've built. And I think Crown Affair does both. And Diana's done an incredible job.
Diana and I were passing ships at Glossier, and she was very much trained in the Glossier school of world building, as I like to say. And I actually love that she hired a CEO years ago to run Crown Affair. I think that's where, in my experience of watching a lot of founders fall, is you could be a creative beast, have the best ideas, but like you need someone to execute on them. And sometimes I think it's very hard to be both. And I think she acknowledged that difference right off the bat. I also think she did such a good job of like disrupting a lot of the common hair care routines, right? But she didn't also reinvent the wheel. Like we all as girls put our hair up in a towel, and that's just like a thing that we do, right? But she gave us a better way to do it, where it didn't feel like I'm completely disrupting my routine. I use the Crown Affair hair towel literally every day. It's my favorite thing. But yeah, I just feel like she's made the things in my beauty cabinet better.
Which, I mean, again, credit to her as somebody who's at her core, I think, is like entrepreneur, right? She's a creative for sure. But again, she doesn't have a hair background. But I think that's what a lot of this, like a lot of the successful brands, that's what it is. It's making a product that already exists that we just kind of accept better. The other thing that I think, the other product that Diana came out with that I thought was genius was the dry shampoo. We always spray. She was like, why don't we actually like touch our root with the brush? And that just like mind blown.
She made it with a kabuki brush. And so you actually like dab it into the roots of your hair. But I think it's funny what you said in the beginning of talking about Crown Affair. It's slow and intentional. Yes. Something I've noticed a lot of this year in terms of brands that I love and gravitate towards are brands that are less about like a wide assortment of clothing and more about this very dedicated assortment of things that they sell. Like a good example is when people ask me now, like, hey, where do I get a leather jacket? I'm like, Noor Hamor.
Yes.
When people are like, hey, where do I get a good t-shirt? Or like, where do I get good like lounge clothes? Lisette. Like brands that have found this niche and like really dove in.
Well, I think it's again, I think of like all of these fashion trends and beauty trends. I don't want to say trends, but like more like, it's honestly like macroeconomics. Honestly, it's more like these macro trends on like a societal cultural level where like before this era we're in was the era of the department store, and it was mass and there were 4 floors and it was, you could get everything and they were all equally thriving. And the only thing that really set them apart was, you know, they all mostly carried the same thing. The only thing that set them apart was maybe the branding, and people loved it. And then I think, right, if you think of a pendulum, we went so far on the department store era that then it became, okay, we need to start now niching down. And it's, here's an amazing t-shirt brand. Here's an amazing leather shirt, jacket brand, whatever. And so I think also at the same time, there's so much saturation now.
Yeah, so like, I don't want to sift. No. I want to know exactly where I'm going and like know that it's the right thing.
In order to stand out and I think be successful now as a brand, like you really have to do one thing very well. But I think of beauty too, Summer Fridays, not to bring them up again, but they launched with just gel lag. They only launched with one product.
Right.
And they were like, we're just going to focus on doing this really well.
And they did that for years.
Yeah.
Like they didn't expand for a while.
No.
Yeah, I think that's the way to make it today. People are always like, how do you start a brand in today's world? And I'm like, you got to be really good at one thing.
One really great product.
Yeah.
And to your point, you have to be obsessed with it. As someone who is also building a company, it's your entire life. And I think you can tell the brand owners that maybe aren't fully in it versus the ones that are. And to your point about Diana hiring a CEO as someone who's a creative, like I think there's an overglorification of the entrepreneur and the cool girl and how she's doing both. And the reality is like behind the pretty Instagram post it's hard work.
It's crazy.
Okay, I'm turning it over to you. Gut reaction. Top 3 moments of the year.
The road sale.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think the road sale is going to be like the defining sale of our generation.
Yeah.
She killed it.
It's crazy. I mean, people are going to study this brand in textbooks.
Exactly. The Chanel show. Mathieu's, I think, debut as a marketing moment, I thought was fantastic.
Yes.
I think the entire internet, that was probably one of the most viral fashion moments of the year.
Yes. I think we should put a picture of the rock stud, depending on who's listening. Because if I'm being honest, like I'm like 98% sure I know what this is. But it was before.
This is thrilling.
I never owned a rock stud.
Okay. So the rock studs are about 15 years old.
Okay.
They are
Valentino.
They are an iconic Valentino shoe. They are probably the most iconic Valentino shoe. So yeah, I think they came out in 2010. I had a pair.
I was 12.
What? You were 12, wearing a Rockstud. I love that. I had a patent leather black pair, pointed toe, of course, with baby pink trim. And then I think it wrapped around my ankle, like in one little wrap. And I was feral for them.
Obsessed.
Yes, all the bloggers of that era were wearing them. So they haven't been around for like 15 years. The Devil Wears Prada, which I feel like at this point we've seen half the movie.
Literally half the movie.
Half the movie. They're in Milan. There's an event at the Met. Like, I feel like we know all the things, right? But so they release a trailer where Miranda Priestley is walking through the halls of Runway, and the first 30 seconds of the trailer are her just walking in these bright red Valentino Rockstuds. And the internet went feral.
Is this the clip of them walking into the elevator?
Yes.
Okay.
The fact that they put her in a Rockstud, I think the internet was like swirling. Like, was this paid for by Valentino? Is the movie supposed to take place like multiple years ago? Like, why is she in a Rockstud?
Yeah.
Like, she could have been put her in anything. I would have loved to see her in a Prada shoe.
Yeah.
Like, why was she not in a Prada heel, right? Then apparently it was revealed on LinkedIn by internal at Valentino that the integrated marketing team strategized this entire thing with the Devil Wears Prada. And then when you went on the Valentino Instagram, when this went live, there was all new content of the Rockstud.
Oh, wow.
I think what's really interesting is I think from a content perspective, it did really well, but it wasn't like on social. I see people wearing the Rockstud. Like, I don't know if I don't have the data behind like the sell through of it. Like, if people are wearing it or still talking about it, or if I even think it will be a shoe that is going to become an it shoe of the moment. Alessandro Michele is currently the creative director of Valentino, who was formerly at Gucci. And I would love to see him reinvent the Rockstud. If he came out with a new version of it, I think that would be so cool.
It needs to be a reinventing. We can't do like the same thing.
And I hope that this was like a tease to that moment. I don't know. Let's see. I think that like there's a very big distinction between something that goes viral and people seeing a lot of like seeing it and talking about it versus actually liking it and bringing it into their lives.
Yeah.
I really love what Chanel is doing from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
Every touch point to me is working.
What they're doing is great too, because it's not lo-fi either.
No, it's super luxury.
Yeah.
But there's something about the approach that feels younger and cooler.
Yeah.
It's aspirational, but still gritty. Like, that show in the subway was a perfect example.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think the Chanel woman is using the subway.
No.
But maybe we're talking about an old version of the Chanel woman. Like, maybe the new Chanel woman does take the subway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I love that change in archetype. Like, I think it's important to change that archetype from something that was like mature and very luxury focused. Like, every touch point that they've released since Mathieu's debut to me has felt so inviting and so fun and so joyful
and like reinvigorating.
Yes, like that moment at the end of the show where like
goosebumps,
everyone was clapping. I haven't seen something like that in fashion in my entire career.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen something like that resonate so deeply. Like maybe I saw like one video of someone being like, I didn't like the Chanel show. And I was like, rage bait. Rage bait. There's honestly, no one who didn't like the Chanel show. Rage bait. But yeah, like I think that what's happening there is so exciting.
It is. I think for us to feel that through a screen too says a lot. It's very much escapism a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I keep bringing everything back to social media, but in a world where I'm seeing so much more conversation around pendulum swing, we are so far in the social media hole right now that it's like, let's now the pendulum swinging back to like audiences and people wanting that escapism, and brands to capitalize on that and give us that are the ones that are successful right now, and to do it in a very thoughtful and still high level way that feels luxury and not a departure from like the Chanel that we know, I think is really smart.
You are chronically online.
Yeah.
And there's something that I am dying to talk about that I'm wondering if you see a lot of, or it's not on your radar at all. Live shopping.
On Instagram or TikTok? TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
You could technically. So the reason I'm bringing this up, live shopping was almost a thing during COVID. Kate Bartlett and I were talking about it like a couple weeks ago on the podcast, where she's like, why isn't that more of a thing? Kim Kardashian is doing Kimsmas on TikTok, and she's doing a whole live shopping segment. And I've wondered for a long time, what is going to be the modern day QVC for Gen Z and millennials. But I also think that a lot of people don't realize that like QVC would not resonate with Gen Z because Gen Z can see through like when they're being sold.
Yeah, it's produced. It's like
it's like we know. You know what I mean? We get it.
Does not feel like a FaceTime call.
Right.
A TikTok live does feel like a FaceTime call. TikTok Shop has been trying to really blow up and like be a thing since, I remember being at Dear Media when they first rolled it out and them really trying to push. Obviously it was a new initiative. But I know there's like incentives for creators to be on it right now, kind of like the Snapchat play where like if you use our platform and our, tools will give you money to try and get audiences over there. When I think of TikTok Shop, I think of James Charles. He does a lot of TikTok lives and TikTok shops. I'm trying to think of the right word, how I feel about it right now. I also sometimes with the new things, I get a little like, I'm like 1 foot, like baby steps into something before I'm not the person that like something new comes up and I like dive right in, which you kind of should be sometimes.
You should be. So one of my favorite things ever said on the podcast that I remember to this day, in the 5 years of doing the pod, we had Tamara Kalanick, who is a massive fashion influencer, on the podcast years ago. And this was like months into Reels having launched. And I'd asked her about her strategy. Like she's grown so much. She's got so many great different platforms. She's got an amazing YouTube channel. She's on TikTok, Instagram. And I said, what's your best advice? And she was like, you have to be a first mover to things.
That is true.
No one's going to remember if you tried it and flopped. Like for example, like, do you remember who jumped on the Threads train and now Threads doesn't exist anymore? Like who cares? Right. You have to be the first mover to all of these things and give them a try.
I think
that's so true.
I agree. I think we live in a day and age now though, where it's not as easy. Like it's exhausting. There's so many new platforms. There's so many new different things that Mr. Adam at Instagram is changing. And it's like, how am I supposed to be the first to all of these things and still show up for my core audience and be a good creator and, an A+ student on social media? And so now I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, okay, with all these platforms that exist, where is the best use of, not personally mine, but clients, whatever that I work with, like where is their time and energy best spent right now? And let's find the bread and butter, and then let's test maybe one other thing.
I'm really curious to see how Kim's goes. I'm just curious to see what the feedback is from hers and how many people join and if they like it. Like I'd love to see what the user response is there. Yeah. I'm sure she's going to sell through Kim's really fast, but I'm really interested in these like live FaceTime style videos.
On paper, it makes sense.
People love hauls, right?
Right.
How much better would it be if I could do a haul?
It was live.
With people. And people could be like, can you try that on with a boot?
Yeah.
Like you're wearing flats with it, but I would love to see it with a boot. Like I think that's great community building and is really fun.
That's a really good point. But then like, why aren't people doing Instagram Live?
Instagram Live to me is dead.
But why
COVID
is TikTok
killed it.
Live not?
COVID killed Instagram Lives. It just got a bad rep. Like
it's also just like,
it fell off.
Awkward.
It's awkward. But I just think COVID really messed it up.
But how is TikTok Live?
It's just a different vibe.
Maybe there's a case for a revival.
It's like when you have a fixation food and you eat it for a month and then you can never eat it again. That's Instagram Live.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm so over Instagram Live too.
Right.
It's like a thing that we like pounded to death and then it was like awkward. But I am just curious how TikTok then doesn't become that same thing. I understand it's different audiences. But
I also just think the way that I scroll on TikTok and Instagram is different. Like I would join a live and then leave the live. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram is that more like
Instagram feels more of a commitment.
And like all your friends and like 8th grade bully.
That's what I love about TikTok is like,
I know, me too. It's like anonymous.
Some of my friends see it, but the majority is people that don't know me.
Right.
That's
why I think TikTok has success. And that's also why I think trial reels became a thing. Because they were like, oh, people are getting like insecure and they're not like posting content that they want to post because their 8th grade bully is seeing it.
A lot of good like social media advancements this year. Like trial reels was great. Shop My is great. This was definitely the year of Substack. Substack definitely took off this year. Like I feel like I started mine last year, but I wasn't even one of the early ones. But like we really saw it pop off this year.
I'm curious to see how Substack evolves for brands. Celebs are joining it too. Charlie XCX just joined.
I saw that. I'm very curious to see the follow through because what I'm feeling right now is that all the celebs are going to join it. Like all the celebs started podcasts, and then they're going to realize how much work it is, and they're going to fall off a little bit. But there is this other opportunity there where, like, to me, Substack, the feed, feels like Twitter.
Yes.
So if, like, you can get celebrities to engage in it like they used to engage on Twitter, and then, like, obviously so many celebrities dropped off of Twitter.
Yeah.
Then I think you have...
But then, like, what an a big
opportunity.
Point.
Totally.
Pamela Anderson has
great
one too.
Substack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about soft girl, slow life.
100%.
Amazing.
So I am curious to see, how... God, it's just like these poor celebs. They have so many. They have a skincare brand, and then they have a fashion line, and then they have 2 movies they're working on, and then they're investor in this brand, and now I have to do Substack, and then it's a lot.
I think what you said earlier is so right, which is that like you have to be an A+ student in the lane that feels right to you. Like,
and keep that as your core.
Yes.
And like obviously as that evolves, you have to evolve too.
Right. Like YouTube, I'm not really good at vlogging. So I post the podcast clips on there, but like I got my start in writing. Like I got my start writing for Forbes and working at Teen Vogue. So Substack for me feels so right.
Right.
But I have friends who are like, I hate writing. I don't even know what to do on there. So don't do it. But I think if like it resonates with you and you feel like you can give it your all, then do it.
Because at the end of the day, like this has to be your life as well.
Right.
And like how inauthentic of you to be showing up on YouTube in a way that is just not comfortable or native to like who you are as a person, you know? And that shows. And then you're just beating a dead horse.
I love Substack. I'm such a big fan.
Since the day it came out, you were like, oh,
I love this thing.
This is for me.
I like the ability. One, I love how they support independent writers. I think that's amazing. Like for some of the old magazines I used to work at, they would pay nothing. And it was kind of devastating to watch. Like I ended up leaving them because I was like, I can't, this isn't sustainable. Like the rate that I was getting was just pennies for the amount of work that you were putting into these well-researched stories. So I really appreciate this platform that's come out that rewards writers for writing independent work.
Yeah.
But I also think, to this conversation of like, I feel like Substack is the antidote to so many things we talked about in this podcast, which is like people want community. They want to be part of a world. They don't want to just be sold things on Instagram. And I think Substack is this really beautiful world for you to enter. There are so many great people who I love to follow on there. Like I love Leandra Medine's Substack. I think she writes great. She's just such a great writer, and I think her style POV is amazing. Allison Bornstein, who's been on the show, has such a great Substack. Like you get to know the people on such a deeper level.
Right, because we're not reading long Instagram captions.
No, and we have a chat for Let's Get Dressed on there, and people post in there all the time asking like, hey guys, like what's everyone's favorite cotton underwear? Or like, what's your favorite pair of jeans? Like that feels real, like real community that has not, for me, I haven't really been able to find elsewhere.
The equivalent of that to me, it reminds me of like a Facebook group.
Yes.
But like, I don't want to be on Facebook.
No, what is
like,
that?
It's just not.
No. Anything else you want to bring up?
Looking at my notes. Just like very like top level, just like 2 like cliff notes that I want to actually call out. Maybe this is just a personal sentiment. I'm curious how you feel. This was the year of the like oversized IRL.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
In the garbage.
We like
if I see one more like oversized bag going down Madison Avenue.
No.
Like on a car.
It's a little gimmicky now.
Yeah. I think we've done it.
Yeah.
We can say goodbye to that.
Didn't Kim do the like big Skims thing? And
yeah, I think we can say goodbye.
It's yeah.
Like, I've seen
cute while it happened.
Yes,
the
like
first person to do it.
Aritzia had like the big sweatshirt.
Yes.
The giant road things. What else? There was more like that would go down the street.
And then everybody just did like
they were all
bags.
AI. Enough.
Yeah, we're good. And then
bye to that.
Goodbye. I do feel like this was the year of the wild posting. Like
billboards are back, baby.
They are so back, which as a creative, I'm like, yes, I love. I remember like my first time in New York, it was 2017. I was 19 years old. And for whatever reason, obviously like New York was amazing. Like look, the wild postings. I was like, oh my God, I love these everywhere. Big posters. Yeah. It wasn't like a billboard because billboards were still kind of like eh. And the fashion brands were doing wild postings, and I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with these. And then when I was at Dear Media, I had the chance to design my own for one of the podcasts they did, which was like so exciting. But they've been around forever. I just feel like this year everybody kind of like looked at them and was like, oh, I should do that too. And we're seeing like creators do them for like social media moments.
I think for a brand, it's an instant win for so many reasons. One, you get out of home marketing.
Yep.
Two, if you are doing a collab with a creator, like I think of like the first one that's coming to mind is like the Serena Kerrigan, Joe's and the Juice collaboration, right? One, she was probably I know she was so excited to go and see it IRL.
Right.
So she would post that.
Yeah.
You get people walking by it.
It's a social media moment.
Then also, it's a social media moment.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much value in that.
Right.
And I think, again, it plays into the nostalgia. Like we love these things that are out of our phones in real life. And I've seen them really come back. Like we're talking about something for 2026. And one of the first things on the docket was wild postings.
Yes.
It's funny to see that those physical things come back. Okay, let's close it out. Tell me what you think. And not just from like virality, but like what's a brand that you are excited to watch in 2026?
I do feel like the Rose journey has been interesting. Mm-hmm. Because they were it still is obviously very luxury. And then we had this whole, I think the Cut did like, I don't want to call it an expose, but it was this very controversial like sample sale happened, and then I didn't quite follow it all, but then somebody spoke out about how they're not shopping at the Rose. Like it was a whole...
The Rose biggest fan spoke out about how they will no longer be shopping at the
Row. And it's now become...
I did read that. I think that was on the Cut.
The Row used to be something that like to me, and maybe this is me being naive, like only the like inside highly fashionable girls knew about and were actually shopping. Now... like my peers who aren't even in the fashion industry at all, like know the Row. Like it's elevated, I think, to like a different tier now. And so now with this new kind of like world that they're in, I'm curious what they're going to do with that in 2026. And if it plateaus or if it stays as is, I don't know.
For context, that story, I think about the woman breaking up with the Row, I think was about, from my understanding, she is a shopper at the Row, but often talks about the Row publicly, and is like her whole Instagram and socials are like dedicated to shopping and buying and trying on the Row. And there were some moments that I think the Row didn't like, and they would personally reach out to her about them. And she was like, whoa, I'm a consumer. So I think that there was this whole conversation about how much they try to manufacture image.
But that's what's so interesting is before they probably didn't have to.
Right.
Now it's
just so, yeah.
I don't want to say it's mass in the way that a Gap is mass. Right. But it is a lot more touchable.
Yeah, like they had to like stop selling the Margaux.
Right. Yeah. Like we all know the Margot now. Right. And so now I'm just curious like how they continue to censor or not. Yeah. Yeah. And how does it become, I don't know. I want to ask you the same question, but I also want to ask you, what brand do you think is, how do I ask this? How I said that the Row used to be the brand that like only the like kind of like fashion people knew. What is that brand now?
Totem.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Totem.
That's a great, yeah.
Yeah, I have to like constantly influence and educate people on
what
how
Totem is.
Fucking good Totem is.
Wow,
yeah,
that's so
I think it's really overlooked. I think it's still an insider metropolitan brand, and I could see it expanding a bit more. It's still very fashion to me.
Yeah, that's
it's still very fashion, and I think it has the potential to just reach more people.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
What brand are you excited to watch in 2026?
Plot twist. Coach. Bear with me.
Okay.
Tapestry, which owns Coach.
Yeah.
And also formerly owns Stuart Weitzman. They just sold it off. Coach has been making a lot of money and has been increasing in profits like quarter after quarter, doing very, very, very well. Their strategy has been to tap Gen Z, right? Over the last 5 years. I think we've all heard about Coach and their Gen Z strategy, right? Yeah. Elle Fanning, like all of their influencers are Gen Z. Was
it the cloud bag that they like came out with?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did massive marketing run with the Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yeah.
Lola Tung exclusively wore Coach and Coach bags in the show and during the promotion of it.
Interesting.
And they've done really an amazing job at tapping into those moments. Like they're the exclusive sponsor, I think the handbag sponsor of the WNBA. Like Coach has done a really good job of identifying strategic partnerships. Like I saw the fact that I could watch The Summer I Turned Pretty and say, that's that bag from Coach.
Yeah.
And like know the name of the bag means that their marketing is working, right? Yeah. I think I'm curious about a few things. One, I actually just went to one of their press previews, and I have one of their bags.
Yeah.
I have the Empire bag that I travel with all the time.
Oh my God.
It's a good bag.
I dream about.
See?
Nobody else has done a bag like that.
It's a really good bag. Their Brooklyn bag, Morgan Riddle, who was on the podcast last year, brought the Brooklyn bag. She was wearing it to the pod, and I was like, wow, what's that bag?
Yeah, I remember.
And so many people asked about it when I shared it. So I think in terms of bags, they're doing really well. I just went to their press preview, and their outerwear is really good. I think one, I'm interested to see how they continue to market those items and like carve out that lane for themselves. But I think what I'm most interested in 2026 is Gen Z's growing up. So what does it look like to continuously market to Gen Z?
Or are we pivoting marketing strategies?
Are we pivoting marketing to Gen Alpha? Is that
I think so.
Gen Alpha. So I'm just excited to see that. And Coach does that really well. So I think if anybody is going to be writing that playbook, it's going to be Coach.
The Coach of it all, I think, goes back to the notion of a really great product.
Yeah.
Like that bag is
exquisite.
Amazing. And we're not saying that because of the brand.
No, I want to travel just to wear that bag. If you guys hear like weird grunting or chime or like jingles, it's my dog who's stretching by our feet.
We love you.
I love you, Bodhi.
Is your red light still going?
Yes, is yours.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, here he comes. We said his name and he's
Is this his debut?
Hi, Bodhi. Welcome to the pod. Aww. Say hi. Thanks so much for doing this. I love recording the pod with you. Seriously, it feels like just all of my like favorite things that we can talk about, and I love hearing your take. And it's funny, I know you work in like social media on a daily basis, but you are so smart.
Wait, same. You're like one of the only people that I can like nerd out about this stuff with.
No, we nerd out.
You know?
Bodhi, stop shaking. I love that we nerd out. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Same.
Yay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh. Say bye, Bodhi.